Well, Tata Motors has certainly upped its game because, it's right now number two in the sales as far as 2025 goes. And it's taken a long time to reach this milestone. To talk us through all that and more is none other than Shailesh Chandra, who's had the helm of operations at Tata Motors. Shailesh, thank you so much for talking to us.
My pleasure.
Um, as I said earlier, getting to number two position is a big deal for Tata Motors, of course. What's the scenario right now? And is it jubilant? How are things there in Tata Motors?
I'm saying that being a rank 2 or no is not very important for us. It is important that the products that we have in our portfolio, all of them in their respective segments are in the top 2. I think that is how we approach the market. A rank or a market share will be consequential. Definitely becoming rank 2 boosts the morale of the team and all.
Yeah.
But I see more that as a consequential number. It is more important that what we target to sell in the market is what we are focused on, and that is how we approach.
And it's taken a good amount of time to reach there as well. I mean, with good products coming out from the company, maybe the Nexon or the next generation of the Nexon, the Punch especially. What do you think was core to that philosophy of bringing out such cars to the market?
It is very important that when you are envisioning the strategy of your portfolio, it is important that how you are catching the future trend. And I think that, when we were conceiving the portfolio, which has brought us from, say, selling about 1.5 lakh cars in 2022, say, more closer to 6 lakh cars, that has happened because of the spotting of the segments of how we visualize the trend going forward. And we had visualized that SUVs are going to grow big. 2020, it used to be 29% share, and majorly the market was more car market, which transitioned to 55, and therefore our strategy was spot on, that more SUVs are going to help, and very compelling product like Nexon, Punch, Harrier, Safari all added to making us grow to nearly 4.5 times. And that has been the reason behind. So spotting the trend is very important. And going forward, the trend will be not only spotting, what is going to be the right set of products that you need, but also what technologies are going to grow. So I think it is going to be the mix of both. And so far that has been working for us.
So the Sierra then is what you're talking about. I mean, that's basically where the Sierra comes in. When it comes to new technologies, a new avatar of Tata Motors, how do you put it for the
So see,
Sierra?
when we conceptualized our portfolio, we said that if a first-time buyer comes and buys a Tiago, for the entire life, as the customer upgrades, they should have an option, right? And therefore, you'll see our portfolio more reflects continuity from a customer perspective, going up to Harrier, Safari, and maybe beyond in future. But there was a missing link, which was this absence in a segment between, say, Curve and Harrier, where this was a white space which was left open. And we said, if this is to be filled, then we should bring back our iconic car, which is Sierra, which for last 5 years I have seen multiple mails coming to me that why don't you launch Sierra? So there's huge, it's not just a car launch for us, it's basically an emotional moment. Not only for Tata Motors, I think for many, especially the Gen X who have seen this car physically when it was in the 1990s and dreamt of having this car. So one, it comes also with responsibility that when we are bringing this in its new avatar, one, it is relevant for Gen X, it is resembling what original Sierra was, but at the same time, it should be more relevant to the Gen Y, Gen Z also.
Yeah.
That is how we have conceptualized this product. You have already seen that. It is focusing, it's in the mid-size SUV segment, but it is on the premium side of it,
Right.
which means that can I come with a car which is optimized to the footprint of mid-size SUV, but gives you a high SUV indulgence?
Right.
That is the whole thought process behind it. So when you talk about spaciousness, comfort, the craftsmanship, use of rich material, color, fabric, whether you talk about the tech stack, which is of the next level, because if you remember, original Sierra was ahead of its time in terms of technology, also giving power steering, power windows, AC, and also we had to be a notch above. So this is the first ICE car which will have the 5G connectivity, for example, 3 screen infotainment system, HUD, L2 plus ADAS. So it is full of tech stack also. So I think it will appeal to a wider audience, right from Gen X to Gen Y to Gen Z.
Right.
So that's the thought behind Sierra.
While whatever the technologies you spoke about, I think Tata Motors has always pioneered in that. Uh, Bringing into a car like Sierra and making it more, having a mass appeal or, having that in place. How do you feel that pans out in a car like the Sierra, which you says sits at a very premium position in that segment? Do you feel that maybe the base variant has more to offer than the competition right now?
You're absolutely right, because see, the whole thought process was, as I said, that just imagine, people living in big metropolitan or even in smaller towns. There's a genuine issue of parking. There's genuine issue of maneuverability. And many a times we, see customers who said, I don't want to upgrade to a bigger car because my parking lot does not allow me, or I don't want to handle such a big car. It gives me discomfort. But they have money to buy a higher car also. So we thought that can we give a high SUV indulgence? And that's why we focused on the premiumness, spaciousness. And that is exactly what we have given in this car, so that you are able to strike that right optima to appeal to a buyer who can also go for this kind of. Therefore, if you are positioning this as premium mid SUV, right from the base model, it should mean something.
Yeah.
So it will definitely have more features than what typically you would see in a mid SUV segment.
Right. I won't talk much about the Sierra ICE versions right now. I want to get back to what EVs mean for Tata Motors, because that's a position that you have solidified in the market. Extremely big on sales with really good offerings in that, and with the Harrier EV also adding to it. The Sierra, of course, will add on to it. But what do you see the future like? I mean, will the adoption be similar? There have been so many uh, studies done right now talking about people still having range anxiety, though Tata Motors has been vocal about, what, we make cars that will make you less anxious about the range. What do you have to say about that?
No, I think, since we have been in the electric vehicle as the pioneer, and we have seen days where the first car had only 100-kilometer range. Then when we came with Nexon with more than 230-kilometer range, real range I'm talking about, not the certified range, it was a wow. And now 200 kilometers is not a wow. Then 350-kilometer became a wow.
Yeah.
Now people are expecting 500 kilometers, so that typical intercity distance, people travel in India is about 180 kilometers.
Yeah.
But 90% of the people do less than 400 kilometers in a day. So if you are giving cars above 400 kilometer, you are able to overcome range anxiety as well as the charging infra concern that people have. In high SUVs, for example, Harrier EV you gave as an example, you are able to overcome not only the range issue or range anxiety by giving 500 kilometer range, but also price parity.
Right.
So if you are able to give price parity, if you are able to give 500 kilometer range, if you are able to give lifetime warranty, which is another concern on battery pack, what happens to it, you have sorted out. That's why you see that in Harrier EV, possibly we get daily bookings of Harrier EV more than the ICE. That's the tipping point for me. We have not been able to achieve this in the entry side. So we have to continue to pursue hitting this sweet spot in the entry segment. And once you do that, that is the big unlock to electrification in the country. And that is something which I feel I have been very optimistic always about EVs, right from 2018. I see this happening in certain point in time.
But do you think that people will shell out that amount of money, say,
When it is at price parity?
Yeah.
You are shelling out of the money for a certain size of a car with certain features you would. And when you get the comfort of that uncertainty around, say, battery, for example, if you are able to give lifetime warranty, I think this combination works, and we have seen in high SUV segment, people have responded to that.
Right. A quick word from you on how service, I mean, you have invested a lot when it comes to, renewing the service aspect of Tata Motors. How has that journey been, and what's it looking like right now and the future as well?
So see, as I said that in 5 years, we grew 6 times, 4 times, 4.5 times, 5 times. And that really led to an issue of capacity on the service side lagging. And that led to definitely a concern on the customer experience on the service side. I think in the last 1.5 years, we have done a lot of work, not only on increasing the capacity, rather than focusing on creating multiple service center, we rather started measuring ourselves in number of bays which are available,
Right.
enhancing the productivity of bays, modernizing the workshops, improving the diagnostic abilities as the new technologies are consumed, using a lot of AI tools to do that, improving the roadside assistance. Possibly now we are the benchmark in terms of, with the help of my TVS, who is our partner, in terms of on-site repair of cars. I think a lot of distance we have covered in the last 1.5 years. This is where we want to be the best, and this is the path that we are going to pursue. It hurts us that in the past that customer had to go through some pains because of the capacity issue, but we remain committed to delivering the best customer experience.
All right. Final word from you about alternate energy or alternate fuels. Where does Tata Motors stand there? And you have, as Tata Motors always said, that we are not affected by the chip shortage out there right now or anything related to rare earth metals. What do you think? How would you respond to these two categories?
First, on the alternative technologies that you said, I think we are offering right now the widest range of powertrain options: CNG, diesel, petrol, electric. And we do see that there is a certain pathway towards the end destination, which is zero emission technology. We will play in the multi-powertrain strategy going forward, so that we are keeping all the options open, and depending on which customer is comfortable with what, we are ready to give that kind of a offering in the market.
Right.
Coming to rare earth, I think rare earth dependence is both for ICE vehicles as well as EVs. Rather, we have faced more situations on ICE than EVs, but it's a reality that there has been, or there had been, dependence on one single geography as far as high rare earths are concerned specifically. So there are multiple initiatives that we are taking. There are short-term initiatives to take care of the supply chain, immediate supply chain challenges, but there are mid and long-term actions to reduce the dependence on high rare earth. In certain cases, be rare earth free, high rare earth free. So all those initiatives are on short-term, mid-term to long-term, and I think we'll have to find a way out of this.
Sure. My final question to you is: you spoke about targeting certain sweet spots in the Indian market to enhance the sales further. What are those sweet spots? If you
That's the strategy of a company. How can I disclose that? But some of them will be very obvious.
Right.
Like this was very obvious. Mid-size SUV segment was an obvious gap that was there in the portfolio. Still, we would be addressing 65 to 70% of the market. There is still that 30-35% which is left. And some of them we'll address, or some of the current segments which might grow, we might also see more opportunities there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and heartiest congratulations on the Sierra, and look forward to driving the car for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.